If you've ever had to manage a big server environment, you know the pain of trying to keep every single machine perfectly in sync. Well, today, we're going to talk about a tool that's a total game changer for that. VMware's vSphere Lifecycle Manager, or VLCM for short. Let's dive into what makes this thing so different.
All right, let me ask you something. Especially for anyone who's ever looked after a server cluster. Does it feel like you're just constantly fighting fires? You're trying to keep every host perfectly aligned, same patches, same drivers, same firmware, and it just feels like this frustrating, never-ending battle.
Yeah, that right there, that's what we call the host management headache. For years, admins have been wrestling with these super complex, error-prone processes just to keep their infrastructure consistent and up to date.
In this slide, man, it really shows you the heart of the change. The old way, using vSphere Update Manager, or VUM, was procedural. You were basically giving the system a long to-do list, a sequence of steps to follow. And you often had to use a bunch of different tools for things like firmware. But the new VLCM way, it's declarative. You don't give it a to-do list, you just show it the finished product, a single perfect image.
This quote just nails it, right? It's the difference between handing a builder a super complicated step-by-step instruction manual versus just giving them a single perfect blueprint and saying, hey, make every room in the building look exactly like this.
So this whole new way of thinking, it all revolves around this powerful idea of a desired state. And it's an idea that completely changes how we approach lifecycle management.
You know, at its core, this declarative model is all about focusing on the what, not the how. You literally just define your perfect host, the exact ESXi version, the specific drivers you want, the correct firmware, and then you let VLCM handle the messy stuff, the how of getting it there.
Let's stick with that blueprint analogy. The image you create in VLCM, that's your master blueprint. VLCM then acts like this master builder who is constantly walking the construction site, checking every single host against that plan. It automatically finds and fixes any little deviations, what we call configuration drift. And that's huge, because those tiny inconsistencies are what lead to massive problems like security holes or weird performance issues.
Okay, so we get the theory, we get why this is so cool, but how does it actually work in the real world? Well, the good news is, it's actually pretty straightforward.
It really just boils down to these 3 simple steps. First, you create your image. This is your blueprint, right? You bundle everything together, the base ESXi software, any special add-ons from your server vendor, and the exact firmware and drivers you need. Second, you apply that one image to your entire cluster. And finally, you click Remediate, and VLCM just does all the heavy lifting, bringing every host into perfect alignment.
And check this out. This is a feature that your operations team is going to absolutely love. VLCM can preload or stage all the necessary files onto the hosts before you're actually ready to do the update. That means when your maintenance window finally arrives, the actual update process is incredibly fast, which means way less downtime.
So what's the big payoff here? I mean, what do you actually get from enforcing this level of consistency across your entire infrastructure? Well, the benefits are pretty powerful.
Oh, and the benefits? They are huge, and you feel them right away. Your day-to-day operations get massively simplified. You get a level of consistency that was, frankly, almost impossible before. And that, in turn, just crushes the risk of human error. Plus, it makes dealing with vendor-specific updates so much smoother.
And this chart really shows you what we mean by full stack. We're not just patching the operating system anymore. A single VLCM process manages the whole shebang, the core ESXi software, the hardware firmware, the drivers, and even other related software like vSAN. It's everything, all at once.
And if there's one thing to remember from all this, it's this, right here. Instead of juggling a bunch of different tools, different schedules, and different processes for your software, your drivers, and your firmware, VLCM rolls it all up into one single unified workflow.
You know that nightmare of hunting down the right ISO from your hardware vendor just to do a firmware update? Yeah, that's gone. VLCM actually integrates directly with things called Hardware Support Managers, or HSMs, to pull those firmware and driver updates right into your image automatically. No more hunting.
So when you put all this together, what you get is a totally new and honestly a much, much better way to work. It's a real strategic shift in how you run your vSphere environment. This right here perfectly sums it up. You move away from being reactive, you stop being a firefighter, constantly putting out fires and checking for drift. Instead, you become proactive. You become an architect. You define the perfect state for your infrastructure just once, and then you let automation make sure it stays that way. It's a strategy, not just a chore.
So, we'll end with this thought. The technology now exists to define, enforce, and maintain a perfect desired state for your entire server fleet. The only question left is, have you decided what that state should be?